Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. It is your favorite Dimpled Thomas here, the one with the ever growing list of to be read books. And oh well, what can we say? Here we are again in this hot messery, hopefully consistently this time. 2024 has definitely been a year for me. I'm very grateful, very happy. I'm engaged, and that just happened this year. Moved into a new home, and of course, if any of you guys are in your own place, you know that things are always happening. So, with that being said, Happy New Year. I don't know when this video will be coming out, but I'm hoping at the very beginning of 2025. So today we're going to be talking about Satan's Affair by none other than H.D. Carlton. And I will admit the reason I am bringing this one up as my first one, like recently in a while, is because I got a lot of comments on this book on my WordPress blog for this book. Like I do in-depth book reviews for those of you who don't know. So I always post them on WordPress because I'm like, why not? I mean, if you guys recommend any other book blogs to recommend them on, let me know. I do want to get into the habit of good reads. I just always forget. So that is my issue. But honestly, just a lot of comments and a lot of praise for this book and like wanting to know more about it. So I figured why not start this off, with this book for this year. So Satan's Affair does contain a lot of smut, and spoilers are ahead. So if you haven't read Satan's Affair, I definitely recommend it. It is a shorter book from H.D. Carlton, so check out your local library or your local bookstore. So, first things first. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you guys know that I don't usually do more than one person kind of romances. Saints Affair kind of got me off guard in that sense because I knew Sibby was mentally ill, but H.D. Carlton has a habit of getting really invested in each character in a different way. The way she got me invested in Haunting Adeline. And oh my goodness, I do not regret reading Haunting Adeline at all. I love Zaid. Like, Zaid is still one of my top tier ones, even to this day. Like, I don't think I've met a Zadie that has matched him. Like, maybe my fiance, maybe him. I'm kidding. He's gonna kill me once he hears it. He's my editor too, so shout out. Um, but I know I felt like Satan's Affair was written to be short, direct, and dirty. And all in all, I was rooting for Sibby because honestly, just knowing a little bit about her in Haunting Adeline, I knew she was bound to have some sort of like interesting, but albeit tragic backstory. And honestly, I don't see enough support for like morally gray women, although Sibby is definitely more on the darker gray side of that coin. But like, come on, book talk, come on, smut talk. Like, where's the support for that? Maybe I don't see y'all as often. I have Bookstagram. I don't have the TikTok. It's just not my thing. Um, but yes, I, like most people on there, enjoy my Zaid Meadows, my Alex Walco, my Christian Harper, my Kai Young. Oh, Kai Young. Whew. I have to do a review on him on that book because I'll admit, nerdy quiet guys. I swear. Um, but anyway, morally gray women are such a great thing to read about. Like, I still have yet to read more with them being the main center of like the book. And I'm hoping that this year is the year that I'm changing that because although, like, damn it, like, zaddies are like certified and amazing and they all have like great tendencies, I also love the other side of that coin. Like, Sibby, I'm gonna give her a good treatment because if the usual men, like anybody from the Twisted series, anybody from the Haunting Adeline series, anybody from like basically Anna Wong series, or I love Kimberly Lemming's ones, there aren't morally gray as those ones, but like, come on, why is Chantel Tessier's Lord series more praised than this one? Come on now. And yeah, and I'm gonna go so hard on that series, or not even the first book in particular. You guys don't even want to know. But but anyway, if they could be praised, so could Sibby. Basically, is what I'm saying. As usual, let's start with the setting. I want to get this off my chest, but I love a good carnival theme. I really do. Books like The Night Circus, or one of my most recent favorites that take place in a circus, is The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. Like, ugh, that book. I haven't heard great things about the author, unfortunately, but the book is great. The author is debatable. Like, I'm not saying she did anything scandalous, but unfortunately, I've heard from many other book readers from her when they met in real life that she wasn't great. So I think I could go on and on about how much that book kind of changed me. Like, that was like one of my recommendations on one of my posts for my Instagram about like more Halloween reads, but make it diverse. That is kind of like giving practical magic vibes a little bit. I won't have that book squandered. Maybe the author, but not the book. I will do my best not to squander Reverse Harem for those who like it because, playtime. I thought that Sibby found Satan's Affair to be really clever. I really like the idea of a traveling theme park and a horror one at that, going around and doing its literal rounds. The idea of people in the wall both makes sense in this case and is terrifying. I don't do haunted places like this. All the screamers just love me and will chase me down. It must be the terrified look on my face, probably. The prospect of Sibby being the anti hero who uses his place as an advantage to cover up her identity while getting rid of the quote unquote demons in every state that they visit. Honestly, I could summarize Sibby as an independent Harley Quinn who isn't afraid to be alone with the traveling horror park and killing only those who deserve it. She is the horror park. In fact, everything else is just there. Everything else is just Ken. She brings the horror park a new level of meaning because a lot of us think that horror places are only good for screams, terrors, and potentially getting murdered, which, is always still a possibility. But Satan's Affair and Sibby take it to another level to where only those who have quote unquote demons inside of them or are like the dark perverts of the world, just like in Haunting Adeline. Basically, her and Zayd do the same thing, but in different fonts. They each have their own techniques, getting the world rid of scum. That being said, whereas Zayd has the entire online world to do his bidding, Sibby has her carnival, her past, motivation, and most importantly, her henchmen. Oh, her henchmen. Am I the only one who saw these men as clowns and they're like scary, but also kind of hot? Like, let's start with Jackal. I know that this man looked like a hot Bane from the Batman universe without a mask and a paint on his face. Like I said, I'm picturing semi sexy clowns. All the books describes him as being the one is the most physically fit, and I'm imagining an upside down Eiffel Tower. All muscle and arms and such, but such a delicate bottom that loves catering to his woman. I remember him the most because he loves eating out as a kind and catering partner should. That's the other thing about this book. Men are literally just described in quick physical appearance and how big their dick is, or what purpose they usually serve in the sexual acts. The fact that Jackal is the one who always eats Sibby out, and the fact that he cleans her up after she finishes her job, big dick energy. But none caught my attention so much as Mortis. Now, Mortis, I know that he also has makeup on, but also claws, so like scary Halloween prop that you see in Spirit, like the Halloween store we in the States know and love. What I do know about Mortis is that out of all the henchmen, he is Sibby's favorite and the daddy of the group. Yes, every henchman gets their just desserts with Sibby and with each other, but he is what I want to call Sibby's equal because he doesn't see her as only the leader. Like a ship has a captain, Sibby, and Mortis, he's the first mate. My goodness, of all the scenes, he is the closest to owning who she is and, like, dare I say, loving her. For those of you who have read it, I'm going to talk about the henchman and the light, but give me a second to really appreciate it. One of my favorite scenes was with Mortis when Sibby was anxious in her dollhouse and she was pacing and he was aggressive and slamming her against the wall before like fingering her to climax. Like we all know Sibby is the top, but Mortis is the only one who could really calm down those moods of hers. And oof, I don't really read Reverse Harem or Harem. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Frankly, because it's not my thing. I'm a one person at a time kind of girl, so don't judge. I'm already getting overwhelmed with so many chores. I do think I could do more than one. No, no. I am not a size person. I am not a size queen. I am here. I will watch. Reading this, it was like trying a new kind of ice cream flavor. The one time you're feeling adventurous at the ice cream shops, you gotta taste test it. The fact that Mortis said that he would tell the boys not to satisfy Sibby for a week if she didn't behave. The power that Mortis has with Sibby is the equivalent of the Scarecrow and Dorothy. We all know they have a deeper connection than the rest of the boys. Now, speaking about the boys, I'm not going to lie. I gotta go back where I annotated who was who, because other than Jackal and Mortis, I lost track of who was who. All I know is that the orgy scene was intense. Like, can we talk about that? Because I didn't know whether to stop and figure out who was where or find it hot. I'm not sure. All I know is that Sibby got her goodies in and her henchmen did too. All in all, there was a total of, I want to say, like 5 men. There was Mortis, the neediest, while the thinnest carried the most junk. Vane, weird relationship with food. Cronus, he's mute. Jackal, the hot one, and Timothy. They're all very scary in the carnival sense, so think scary clowns, claws, and masks. But this quote summarizes Sibby and her henchmen. Quote, we've all been deprived of love and find plenty of it in each other. End quote. Ladies and some good boys out there, know your worth. Don't settle for less, because if these henchmen can support Sibby's mission and still clean her post job time and eat her out, don't settle. That orgy scene was a little confusing to read, I'm not gonna lie, because Miss Sibby's positioning was one where I'm not understanding. I I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where, like the confusion. Like I wish there was diagrams for this because I'm a visual learner. So the fact that I just don't know where everyone is placed, I'm just like at one point Jackal was eating her out, one man was down there, and another one in the booty. You all should have seen my face because I was trying to picture all of their positions. Knowing what I know now about the books, it makes sense that Mississippi was just using sex toys. Anyways, just in general fictional like men just pick beauty, just like Zayd's cameo in Satan's Affair. I'm pretty sure that Satan's Affair was before Haunting Adeline because at the end of this book, Carlton was like, did you like Zayd? Here's more. But back to the point, I really enjoyed their encounter together. It was like watching a cat versus a cat evenly matched. Ooh, that rhymed. It was interesting to see Sibby through her point of view because she could quote unquote like smell demons, but Zayd's scent was not bad, but it wasn't good either. Quote, she says, no, it's not his size. It's the way he carries himself. This isn't just any man. This is a dangerous man. I inhale and nearly choke on the scent of him. He doesn't smell rotten, but he smells of fire and brimstone and something sweet, like burnt roses. He's definitely not pure, but I can't say he's evil either. End quote. She described him as a smoky fire, and what I really wanted to say during the scene is a smoky fire with some s'mores and marshmallows roasting. Because if you have like Mouse and Cat do it, you know that Zayd has really sweet moments as well. Example: Zayd leaves Adeline thornless red roses so she doesn't cut herself, and I'm honestly blanking because he has plenty of hot moments too. But seriously, guys, read it. So if you've read it and you know some of his more sweeter moments, not hot moment. I know we're thirsty hoes here, but you know this is still YouTube and Spotify potentially. So leave only clean comments, sweet moments of Zayd's down below. Honestly, my thirsty ass is just going back to the Hall of Mirrors scene and the theater scene and the forest scene, you know. But I like the fact that Zayd automatically picks up two important things about Sibby. One is that she is obviously just as brutal as him when killing the bad man, and two, he was easy going on her when she realized that the henchmen were really a thing for her. It didn't judge her for it. 3, when they tried to save Sibby from the police when he was escaping, I was worried at first because Sibby was literally describing ways that she was going to murder Zayd and how beautiful he would be underneath her getting stabbed in the mismatched eyes. I was like, no, ma'am, not my ma'am, not my man, not Zayd. Thankfully, nothing too bad happened and they got along. So, not bad. Like siblings, you know. Also, the little glimpse of post sex Zayd. Ah, but let's talk like another moment about the leading her lady herself because I could talk about haunting Adeline, never hunting, and Zayd. But I will admit that I'm looking forward to this more of a story slash novel about Sibby. Sibby herself is the true queen of chaos. I was very fascinated with how she came to be the way she, ended up being. And it did not surprise me at all that she grew up in a cult without any outside influence and a father that was a piece of shit. What I found most fascinating about her past is the fact that she knew the cult she was in was incredibly toxic. Granted, if she and her mom had would have been treated well, maybe that would have been a different story. But the matter of fact is that she knew her father was a piece of shit from the beginning and how her mom's light would slowly get dimmer and dimmer. Sibby was the only one out of all her siblings that actually refused to bow down to her father or his leadership ways. She is the brave, chaotic one that I admired in that aspect. Like her father was a huge asshole. He should have been divorced and went on with your ways without Sibby and her mother. He would have blended in perfectly with the 2020s dating scene. Like some straight men, I'm not saying all, so calm down, y'all. But no, he had to be all extra with the possession of women and having them all to himself and the superior god complex just to take over, narcissistic hoe. Honestly, applauded Sibby when she did that to her dad with the knife that her own mother gave her. As it should be. But that scene where Sibby realizes that her mother poisoned herself after giving her hope that they would be running away the next day, that scene broke me because Sibby's inner monologue was so sad about how her mother didn't want to go with her or why she couldn't wait till they tried together. Sibby loved her mother with all her heart, and that's why I don't blame Sibby's mind for developing henchmen because if she grew up in a cult, lost the only person who mattered because of someone who was a piece of shit and trying to make it in a world outside of the cult, then who am I to stop her? Satan's affair is literally her home for the longest time where she gets to hurt people who hurt people and live with her henchmen. But let me tell you, that scene where Sibby doesn't go with Zayd to escape and takes things into her own hands, leading her down to the mental institution, the insensitivity, the way that Sibby longs for her henchmen, and we as readers get to really see Sibby in her core, someone vulnerable and didn't have a place in the world, but she had a purpose, and that was to rid the world of evil people like her father, who just use up and take women for what they could get. So when the doctor was telling her that her henchmen aren't real and that they were props or masks in the haunted mouse, that shit hurt. I know they weren't, but it still hurt. The fact that the doctors couldn't convey more sympathy with Sibby, and well, I'm not sure how the doctor would have helped when Sibby killed her and was escaping the institute. Tell me I was not the only one feeling like Joker's 2019 vibes because all I needed to hear was Frank Sinatra's "That's Life" playing in the Joker's background, playing in the background itself. You know what I mean? I know that, as I said, H.D. Carlton has a real novel about Sibby coming out sometime coming up this year or hopefully, yeah, I'm hoping it's sometime this year. I'm not sure. Based on Sibby, and while I love her henchmen, I want her to have maybe I don't know. I just want her to be have something real and happy. And I would like, my Zayd cameos in that too, please. That being said, if you're still around, thank you so much for listening and please leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications.